Dixie. I hope you had a good Christmas. Just going to do a quick video update really on some things that might be of interest. Not a lot of people know about Arcons. Some of my experiences of shadow beings and things like that. I was aware that they just seemed to be watching me these things, so I thought, well, it's either something that's paranormal, it's either a grey, or it's something completely different, basically. But what I've had is, from my experiences, is these beings would sort of visit me at night and walk around the place. And it didn't really make sense what they were doing there. They wasn't really engaging at all. So it was pretty strange at first. Eventually things developed. I was able to take a picture and analysed it, and was able to actually extract that there was some sort of greys or some sort of being there, and basically figure out some sort of more information on them. I've had a few etherical devices, like chips or something put in the body. I think it was basically to monitor me at first. I did have a kind of like a healing, and I woke up and had a lot of, like a download of some sort. I had a star map of the universe. It was explained to me that basically what you perceive is 10% of the universe, the actual full percentage we don't. It's so you see all that empty space out there, it's not actually empty at all. You just can't see it because it's in a different dimensional shift. So there might be other Earths and other things spinning around right next to us, and we wouldn't be able to see it. So that was quite interesting. They did explain about the devices. It was to calibrate basically the neurological structure, so that they could actually basically like syncing or calibration. We gave them most of their content. So how things have sort of developed from there is that I've been having sort of some strong dreams. One dream I was really conscious. I was in a sort of semi-state, and I realised there was something coming towards me, and I communicated with you basically asked, are you okay, sort of thing, or something like that, and it answered. So there was sort of telepathic connection there. I could see it's kind of its conscious form. I'm aware that there's, with Greys, I think they basically made some sort of artificial intelligence, and that would be these Archons. And they're in sort of, in essence, sort of made their own being, basically. So it has a consciousness, it's not emotional, and it goes from collecting information. I mean, some of them may become corrupted over time, which is why you get a lot of negative reports. However, if nobody's actually engaging them and saying, I've spoken to an Archon, this is what the Archon told me, I think relying on things like David Icke would be a bad mistake for people, because then, without experiencing it, they've already prejudged the whole situation. So it's a bit like if a reptilian turned up and landed in your city, there'd be a mob there thinking that this is the end of the world. Here we go. Here's the Antichrist, sort of, basically throwing out all the rubbish and all the dogma that's been littered in religion since the day dot. What we need to do is have an open mind, actually engage with things like this, and actually communicate if you can. So for me, I've had that communication, and they don't understand the physical reality that we live in. They're energy based. If they want something, they operate in a complete different frequency. I mean, that's why they observe human behaviour, like if you're cooking, going to the toilet, having a bath. They don't know why you're doing it. So I've had to answer some of their sort of questions, even if they're meaningless. Yesterday, I had a contact where basically I went to bed and I put the phone next to my bed, and it had the alarm set on it. And then I heard something say, "Are you expecting a phone call?" And then I answered in my mind. I said, "Well, actually, no, I've set the alarm. It's because I need to go to work." And then I explained what work is. So, and also you can sense when they're around. You get this tingling sensation. I've sensed it now because I've probably been thinking about them. So that's one area. There's another subject I touched on in another video, but yeah, I think they're just a part of the system. I wouldn't freak out and think they're going to take over. I did consider if they was benevolent and these issues like that. I think basically if we evolve, there may be a way to create something like our own artificial type of what they would call is synthetics, that basically a conscious could inhabit of any sorts, basically move and use these bodies. So a bit like what the Greys have done, where they've shifted their consciousness onto a body, but by that they've kind of divorced some of the genetic aspects that relate to ascension and their development. I mean, they're highly developed, but they're not going to develop in the same way that we will be. So kind of that was mediating the solution, is that basically if they can actually use a body, then there'd be a way for us to engage. I mean, for some of them, they are sort of intruding on people's lives. They don't see the issue with it. I think they need to acknowledge and recognise the fact that we're sentient and that should be boundaries set out. And they're not always, I mean, like, somebody may consent in some way to something happening to them, and they've taken that consent beyond any type of agreement. But yeah, so what I've had is a lot of questions, very basic things like why do you have a bath, and explain that you're washing your body and about bacteria and things like that. And but you can think this through your mind, and there's also acts in different memories as well that have come up and said, oh, that's because of this. So they're pointing out things. It's kind of rudimentary logic there. It's but in return they're sharing knowledge as well, so that's improving it. I did have something mentioned about the Council of Nine today and about joining that in some way, but that, I don't know. It depends on how the ascension works. And but we probably need people that are just completely neutral to represent Earth, not governments that are interested in technology and warfare. We need to go a bit beyond that and actually just be looking at what citizens of Earth want. And there's I'll talk about something else that's quite interesting with ascension in my next video. So thanks for listening to me, and I hope you had a great Christmas and a Happy New Year.